Protecting human participants. Like the animal subjects, human research participants have needs and rights that must be respected. In fact, researchers' primary obligation is to avoid harming the human participants in their studies physically or psychologically. The vast majority of researchers are conscientious about fulfilling this obligation. They try to conduct studies that test their hypotheses and further scientific knowledge in a safe and respectful way. But there have been some notable exceptions to this over the years, particularly 3 infamous studies conducted in the mid-1900s. Partly because of such exceptions, the government and the institutions in which research is conducted now take careful measures to ensure that the safety and rights of human research participants are properly protected. Who, beyond researchers themselves, might directly watch over the rights and safety of human participants? For the past few decades, that responsibility has been given to institutional review boards, or IRBs. Each research facility has an IRBA committee of 5 or more members who review and monitor every study conducted at that institution, starting when the studies are first proposed. The institution may be a university, medical school, psychiatric or medical hospital, private research facility, mental health center, or the like. If research is conducted there, the institution must have an IRB, and that IRB has the responsibility and power to require changes in a proposed study as a condition of approval. If acceptable changes are not made by the researcher, then the IRB can disapprove the study altogether. Similarly, if over the course of the study, the safety or rights of the participants are placed in jeopardy, the IRB must intervene and can even stop the study if necessary. These powers are granted to IRBs, or similar ethics committees, by nations around the world. In the United States, for example, IRBs are empowered by 2 agencies of the federal government: the Office for Human Research Protections and the Food and Drug Administration. It turns out that protecting the rights and safety of human research participants is a complex undertaking. Thus, IRBs often are forced to conduct a kind of risk-benefit analysis in their reviews. They may, for example, approve a study that poses minimal or slight risks to participants if that acceptable level of risk is offset by the study's potential benefits to society. In general, IRBs try to ensure that each study grants the following rights to its participants. NIJ, 2010. The participants enlist voluntarily. Before enlisting, the participants are adequately informed about what the study entails. Informed consent. The participants can end their participation in the study at any time. The benefits of the study outweigh its costs/risks. The participants are protected from physical and psychological harm. The participants have access to information about the study. The participants' privacy is protected by principles such as confidentiality or anonymity. Unfortunately, even with IRBs on the job, these rights can be in jeopardy. Consider, for example, the right of informed consent. To help ensure that participants understand what they are getting into when they enlist for a study, IRBs typically require that the individuals read and sign an informed consent form, which spells out everything they need to know. But how clear are such forms? Not very, according to some investigations. It turns out that most such forms, the very forms deemed acceptable by IRBs, are written at an advanced college level, making them incomprehensible to a large percentage of participants. In fact, fewer than half of all participants may fully understand the informed consent forms they are signing. Still, other investigations indicate that only around 10% of human participants carefully read the informed consent forms before signing them. And only 30% ask questions of the researchers during the informed consent phase of their studies. In short, the IRB system is flawed, much like the research undertakings it oversees. There are various reasons for this. One is that ethical principles are subtle and elusive notions that do not always translate into simple regulations and guidelines. Another reason is that ethical decisions, whether by IRB members or by researchers, are subject to differences in perspective, interpretation, decision-making style, and the like. Despite such problems and limitations, most observers agree that the creation and work of IRBs have helped improve the rights and safety of human research participants over the years. The boards may reflect an imperfect system, but they play a necessary and important role in monitoring the quality and appropriateness of research undertakings.